Welcome to the third episode of Yafqahoo Qawlee. I'm Arish Khataibe, a doctor in psychological counseling and founder of Sparkback. In today's episode, I explore a truth many of us overlook, that many of the big decisions in our lives were not born from one single clear moment or event, but were the result of long paths shaped by situations we didn't stop to reflect on, and by small choices we believed didn't really matter. We will talk about how we learn to fall silent inside and how silence can shift from a temporary solution into a way of life. We will also look at how we redefine concepts like calmness, stability, in ways that may protect us on the surface, but at times quietly distance us from our true inner experience. And as with every episode, I will leave you with a set of reflective questions to help you understand how we are shaped, to recognize your role in the path that led you here, with honesty, awareness, and a sense of responsibility that is fair and compassionate. We often believe that our lives change in big moments. We hold onto the idea that life shifts because of clear major decisions, a marriage, a divorce, leaving a job, or moving to a new country. The idea feels comforting because it gives us a story we can understand and retell. This is where everything changed, as if life was moving in one direction and then one big event suddenly redirected it. But the reality is often different. Real changes rarely begins with big decisions. More often, it begins with very small moments that pass, after which we simply continue our lives as if nothing happened. For example, a moment when you share your opinion in a meeting or with someone close to you, and you were ignored or minimized. Nothing dramatic happens, no judgments, no conflict. You may smile and continue the conversation, but internally, we learn something small. Expressing my emotions and opinions isn't valued here. Next time, you speak less. Then you stop trying. Eventually, you say, I'm just not someone who likes to speak. When the truth is that you learned silence step by step, or a moment when you ask for emotional support and your request is met with indifference or emotional coldness. There is no fight, no discussion, just a quiet sense of disappointment. So, what do we usually do? We tell ourselves, it's okay, I will manage it on my own. Over time, you become self reliant, less expressive, less willing to ask for what you need. Later, you might say, I'm strong, I don't like to depend on anyone. But the strength began as small moment of emotional unavailability. And sometimes the moment is even smaller. A passing comment like, why you are upset, it's not a big deal. You might not respond. You may simply nod. But in that moment, you learn that your emotions are too much. So next time, you soften them. Not because you don't feel, but because you don't want to be labeled as dramatic. And this is how small changes begin within us. We don't decide to change. We simply adapt. We lower our expectations slightly. We ask fewer questions, adjust how we show up, and choose calm over expression. Each time, the choice feels logical, sometimes even wise. We don't feel like we are losing anything because the loss is small, divided, and unclear. But over time, these small moments accumulate. They begin to shape a new way of living. Years later, you might find yourself say something like, I don't like to bother people. I'm used to carry things on my own. Or, I don't need support. And you believe these are your personality traits, when in reality, they are the outcome of small moments where you learned how to protect yourself. The problem is not adaptation itself. Adaptation is sometimes necessary. The problem arises when we don't notice that we are changing, when temporary reactions turn out to be a permanent way of living. We rarely notice these changes because they don't come with warnings. They don't arrive as crisis. They don't force us to stop. We continue our lives working, achieving, appearing fine. But inside, we are drifting one step, then another, without realizing it. That's why when we look back and try to understand how we ended up in a place that doesn't quite feels like us, we don't find one decision to blame. We find a path that quietly shifted because of small moments we didn't take seriously. Explaining this and understanding it is not an invitation to regret or to reopen every past situation. It's a simple invitation to notice it now, to notice the small moments where you are living today and what we learn about ourselves every single time. Because the way we are handling a small moment today might be a way to shape our life for years to come. After inner silence and after adaptation, something more subtle and deeper begins to happen. We start quietly redefining the basic meanings of things in our lives without full awareness. Take calm, for example. At one point, calm meant comfort, safety, a state where the body is relaxed, the soul feels present, and the mind isn't tense or on guard. But over time, with the repeated silence, the meaning of calm begins to shift. Calm no longer means ease. It starts to mean the absence of confrontation. It no longer means inner peace or balance. It starts to mean nothing is shaking me. We began describing our lives as calm when in reality that calm is built on avoidance. We say things are stable, but what we mean by stable is simply that nothing inside us is being stirred and no difficult questions are being allowed to rise. And here, we enter a sensitive stage. The moment we confuse real calm with the calm that comes from internal withdrawal. The calm that comes from withdrawal is not fully comforting. It's calm without depth, more like stillness and reassurance. There is something paused, postponed, not allowed to appear. In this phase, a woman may notice that her emotional reactions have softened. There is no clear anger, no deep joy, no sharp pain, no sense of fulfillment. The emotions haven't disappeared, but their voice has become faint. This kind of calm is often socially rewarded. It's seen as maturity, rationality, and emotional stability. The woman herself may start adapting this image and defending it as it has become part of her new identity. But real calm doesn't need defending. It doesn't need consistent justification. It doesn't require us to convince ourselves of it again and again. Real calm allows emotions to exist. It doesn't erase them. It allows difference. It doesn't suppress it. It allows internal movement even if it doesn't turn into an external confrontation. As for the calm built on silence, it's fragile. Any honest closeness to the inner world can unsettle it. Any moment of awareness can threaten it. That's why it is often protected through avoidance and consistent moving on. At this stage, the problem is not outside. It's in the circumstances, not in the people or in the past decisions. The distance has formed inside between the woman and herself. Life may look like it's going on. Nothing is clearly wrong, but the feeling of fulfillment and presence is missing. There is no clear pain, but there is lack of feeling. As if life is being managed, not truly lived, as if things happen, but they don't fully reach you. And here, we are not talking about a mistake or a failure or a bad choice. We are talking about a phase where calm becomes a tool for protection, not a space for rest. And just simply noticing this difference without judgment or rushing out or pressuring yourself to change is the beginning of the quiet return inward, a return that doesn't damage big decisions or redirect shifts, only simple honesty with what is happening inside you. Now we have reached the part of the episode that helps you move forward with deeper emotional clarity with yourself, honesty, and without pressure. Here I invite you to sit with few questions. Ready? As you were listening, what memory came up for you? What feeling was present in that memory? From that moment until today, what has changed in you? When was the last time you said it's not important while you really actually care about it? What is something you stopped listening to inside yourself so that things could keep moving? Which decision in your life do you describe as it just happened, when in reality it was the result of many small choices? If there is a question that felt heavy or difficult, or an idea that felt closer to you than others, pause there for a moment, simply to notice that it exists. Understanding ourselves doesn't happen all at once. It happens when we allow ourselves to notice and respond without defensiveness. If you feel like sharing your answers with me so I can offer my perspective, please reach out at hello@sparkback.com. Before we close today's episode, I want to leave you with this thought. Paying attention to small details is not about blaming ourselves or pushing ourselves for the past. It's about becoming more honest with ourselves. Many of the things that happen in our lives were not completely forced on us, nor were they internally outside our control. There was always a moment of choice, even when at times we felt we had no choice. We chose silence instead of speaking. We continued instead of stopping. We adapted instead of asking, not because we are weak, but because that was all what we know then, and it felt safer and easier. Awareness today is not an invitation to return to a victim role, nor to carry delayed guilt. It's an invitation to see our contribution clearly and to acknowledge that we participated in shaping our path, even in the moments we believed we were simply moving along with circumstances imposed on us. Because honesty with oneself is a different kind of beginning, a beginning rooted in responsibility, strength without denial, and clearer choice from this moment forward. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Make sure to subscribe to receive new episodes of Yafqahoo Qawlee as soon as they are released.